Coach, you want to go right into questions?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's start with David Newton, followed by Vincent Richardson.
I was expected to be first up here, Matt. So I got a couple for you here, actually. Teddy's numbers against zone coverage has been a little, I guess, struggling a little bit second half of the year, especially. What's been the difference, you think?
I don't know if I'm prepared to answer that question in terms of versus zone versus man. I haven't seen those whatever you're referring to. I haven't seen those. I think globally, I think all of us, I think we've played well at times. We haven't played as well at other times. We've been under duress coming back. We protected a lead last week, so I hate giving you a bad answer.
No, I understand.
Without looking at it in more detail. I mean, when I grade the tape and watch the tape, I look at every play individually. When we ran this play, did we execute it properly? Why not? So we're just really probably working on a much more, finite incremental level. So I don't know if I have that answer for you as well as I should.
Well, let me rephrase this one. And what would you like to see out of Teddy on Sunday to give you a good feeling going into the offseason on him?
I think really third down. I think third down's the key to this game. I think Teddy's done a really nice job of extending drives by running the football. But I'd like to see excellence from all of us in third down. And I think when the opportunity is there to push the ball down the field, and I think our receivers have to go up and get it. We've had some big plays to DJ. I'd like to get Curtis had one last week. I'd like to get Robbie, Curtis, and DJ all involved. Pushing the ball down the field.
Go ahead, Vincent.
Steve Reed couldn't be here, and he wanted me to ask you one question if you could. Can I ask you on just the challenge of stopping Emmanuel Sanders? I guess he didn't play against you the first time, and he's putting up solid numbers lately.
Yeah, he's an excellent receiver, outstanding receiver. He'll pose a challenge to us. Obviously they're extremely efficient in what they do. They're excellent controlled passing game, and they're pushing the ball down the field right now. Really, if you go back to the first game, our issues were on third down, unable to get off the field on third down. And obviously Sanders, Emmanuel brings a real element there. So, Dante's played really good the last 2 weeks. Dante will have to play well when he's matched up against him. And then, really our whole secondary will have to play well versus this precision passing game.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Matt. Miles Hartsfield seems to have got quite a lot of playing time the last couple of weeks. Could you talk a little bit about sort of how much of that is due to his growth as a player and how much is just sort of opponent-specific game plans?
Yeah, I mean, he's really emerged as kind of like the, he plays a lot at nickel for us. He's played really well the last couple of weeks. He's developed on special teams and then grown as a player throughout the course of the year. And now he's getting some big-time opportunities, and he's making the most of it. Still helping us on special teams, still doing a great job. And, you go back and watch the first game versus, New Orleans. I mean, he had 2 carries in the game as a tailback. So in an unusual year, he's had an unusual path to this point, but he's really kind of, doing a nice job as the nickel and has a bright future ahead.
Let's go to Joe Person, followed by Elena Getzenberg.
Hey, Matt, good to see you. There was a report today that you guys had at least shown some preliminary interest in Dwayne Haskins. Wondered if you could kind of characterize, what your level of interest is with him potentially.
No, I appreciate the question. Yeah, I think right now I'm going to just, as I kind of always do, I'll probably just talk about this game and won't talk about any players that are on, out there or on other teams until at least after the season.
Could you? It looks like maybe you recruited him at Temple. Would you be able to discuss sort of what your experience with him was like in that regard?
Well, I mean, any player in the Northeast, some of those guys that were highly recruited didn't spend too much time, talking to us. We were, maybe not at that level in terms of recruits, but do have a lot of familiarity with a lot of, I see a lot of guys every week that, we recruited, played against or recruited against. But, again, I'll I think at the appropriate time, I'll talk about, free agency and all the offseason moves. But right now, I'll just stick to this game.
Matt, hey, couple questions. With Christian, is there just no update, the same kind of, so he didn't practice today?
Yeah, Christian won't play this week.
And then I was curious, at left tackle, if with Russell not practicing today, I know we talked about it on Monday, but who do you is it Schofield or like what one of the practice squad guys? Like, how do you view kind of who's next up at left tackle?
Yeah, Russell won't play. We'll play Schofield and have Aaron Montero and Caskey both ready.
And sorry to be like, I feel like I'm just asking injury questions, but with Mike, did that happen? That was his injury from the game, and where are you with him for Sunday?
I do not expect as of right now for Mike Davis to play. He has a pretty severe ankle sprain. I thought it was just a tremendously gutsy performance for him to finish that game. I mean, to see him, go out there and go back on the field. I thought it was, he wanted to win that game, wanted to win the game for his teammates. I think everyone here appreciates it.
And then just kind of going off that, then what have you seen in Rodney Smith, someone you kind of, had waived and brought back? How do you think he's done this year?
Rodney's a good player. He catches the ball, he's physical, can run the football. So, if Mike's not able to go, which I'm not expecting, Rodney, we have Trent Cannon, we have Alex Arma is always available. And then we have, obviously, Curtis Samuel's played a lot of tailback. So, we'll have some guys ready to go.
Let's go to Jonathan Alexander for the next question, followed by Phil Orban.
Sorry, I was actually going to ask about Mike Davis's status for Sunday, but Elena asked it. But thank you.
All right, let's go to Phil.
Hey, on Mike, Matt, I'm wondering, since it kind of looks like maybe the season's closing for both him and Christian, can you just kind of reflect on him stepping in and playing at the level he did and how valuable that was for you to maybe maintain what you wanted to do even without Christian?
Yeah, Mike's done a lot for us this year. Had a really good camp. He showed up to camp, had a really good camp, took advantage of his opportunities, has run the ball, has caught the ball. I don't know how many catches he has right now, but he's got a ton of catches. And then he does all the little stuff. He pass protects. He protects our quarterback. He gets out, runs routes to open other people up. I mean, he's a consummate pro. He's a great teammate. He's a great personality around here. He's physical in the run game, and he's been a big part of what we're doing. So I hope we have him Sunday, but as I said, I'm not really expecting it.
If I could, you mentioned him playing through pain to finish the game and everything that he does off the field. How much of that, how important is that as you're in year one of building this thing the way you want to build it? How important is a player like him?
Well, I saw, he talked to you guys the other day and he said something to the effect of, we want to be a franchise that wins and expects to win and gets used to winning, or something to that effect. And, everybody wants to win. Everybody likes to say we want to get used to winning, but not everyone wants to do, what it takes to win, whether it's a coach being criticized, by me or me, working extra, or a player, studying extra, or a player playing through being banged up. I mean, there's all these different things. We all want to win, but are we all willing to do what it takes to win? And, Mike's hurt his hand, come off the field, gone back on the field and finished the game. He's hurt his toe. He's taken, some shots this year, some hits, but he always has gone back out and finished it. And we never want anyone to play while they're injured or anything. Don't get me wrong, but he's established a level of toughness. So as we become a franchise that expects to win and gets used to winning, what that means is, we demand from ourselves that we will do what it takes to win. That's a big difference. That not, everyone says it, that we want to win, but are you willing to do what it takes to win, or do you want to just sit there and point at other people? So what Mike's done is he's taken the steps it takes for us to win, and it makes it easy then for me to point that out to the other players, especially the young players, and say, you want to win? Do what he's doing. Prepare like he prepares, play like he plays, show toughness and courage the way he does. So those are the type of guys that help you establish a mindset that we're trying to build.
Go to Josh Klein for the next question.
Hey, Matt. I think it's been almost a year since you were hired, and when you were brought in, a lot of talk was about like sports science and kind of updating that from an off the field perspective. How much of that was not able to be done because of COVID and just the protocols? I know you want to focus on this week. I get it, but I'm just curious, like how much of that was not able to be done.
Yeah, that's we've done a lot of the sports science stuff. We weren't able to utilize it all off season, so we have some things that we use now in season, but we weren't able to do it. We weren't able to do it. We weren't able to do it in the off season, which is really when your development and all those things happen. So, in terms of like all of the metrics that we use, the catapults and the, all those things, managing player load and all that, we have all that available to us and we're using that. But in terms of some of the other stuff, we just, we'd be more off season based, but I think we did get a lot of it. I mean, we looked at it last week going into the second to last game, in terms of game loss because, time loss injuries because of games. It was lower than it has been the last couple of years. The lowest it's been in quite a while was the 2015 season. So time loss reflects winning quite a bit in terms of injuries. And, you're going to have contact injuries. Sports science can't prevent contact injuries, but it can prevent, to a degree, erosive injuries and soft tissue injuries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think our group's done a good job. And I think once COVID is, things at some point go back to the way they were, I think having guys here in the off season will really help that.
And just to follow up, do you think that stuff will be available this off season, or you just kind of go day to day, day by day?
No, I mean, I'm planned out. I have calendars all the way through, till next season. I just don't know what COVID's going to bring in terms of what we're allowed to do with players, once April comes. So we'll have to wait, and see what exactly, is there for us, in terms of the rules, in terms of the NFL, and protocols.
All right, we can get a couple more. So let's go back to Joe Person and then Elena Getzenberg.
Matt, any more you can share on Robbie Anderson?
Yeah, he was just sore today. So, I mean, he's, DJ's missed a game, Curtis has missed a game. They've had a week where they were, able to rest. I think just Robbie just, hopefully just needed to rest today. So we just sat him down today and gave him a day to, hopefully get out there tomorrow and as we go to third down and be flying around.
And on some of these other injuries, I mean, it's obviously hypothetical, but if you guys were, in a playoff hunt, would these be injuries that a guy like Davis might be able to play through?
Like a high ankle, you're saying? Are you saying Mike Davis, Joe?
Really, several of these guys. You had a long list of DNPs today. Were they in a different scenario? Might these guys be up for you?
No, this is just for practice today. That was a pretty physical game on Sunday. We ran the ball 35 times. We took a lot of reps on defense. So, no, I mean, I think if I can kind of get what you're asking. I mean, Brian Burns wouldn't have played with an MCL last week if we didn't have the mindset of we're trying to win everything. Mike's banged up. Robbie just needs a day to catch it. Recuperate a little bit. So instead of continuing to aggravate that thing, so we sat it down for a day and have him back out there tomorrow.
Hey man, I was just curious. Derek Brown is someone, he had a good game last week, and I was just curious. Now he's played 15 games. How you thought he's developed over the course of the season?
I mean, he's played well. He's developed in a lot of areas. He's worked on his pass rush. He plays hard. He runs to the ball. He's professional. He's a good learner. He just needs time to just continue to develop in the off season. A lot of these rookies to come in the NFL and not have an off season with us is really, really, really hard. From taking care of your body to flexibility to learning the playbook. But I feel like Derek's come a long way.
All right, guys, that's going to do it. Coach, we appreciate you taking the
All
time.
right. Thank you.